Do you have wrist pain when pressing? Today, we're going to talk about how to fix that wrist pain with push-ups or pressing overhead.
Get up and get down, get up and get.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Aaron Horschig, and today is all about wrist pain. Now, most people that develop pain when doing a press, either a push-up or pressing overhead, often have problems in extending the wrist and then applying load through that joint. So we're gonna talk about how we can improve wrist joint mobility when we have a limitation there, and then also how you can slowly reapply load to being able to get back to doing all those things. So first off, let's talk about limited wrist motion. When you're getting into that push-up position, the wrist is in a extended position. So we have wrist flexion, wrist extension. So obviously we need extension whenever we're pressing down low. When you're pressing above your head, obviously there's a degree of extension that also takes place. If you are missing that extension, sometimes that can lead to overload of certain parts of the wrist and lead some people to develop injuries. So regaining that optimal extension is step one of the rebuilding process. What we're gonna do is a banded joint mobilization for the wrist. This is what it looks like. We're gonna get a platform set up for ourselves. We're going to get a thin band, obviously to approximate around the wrist joint like this. Now, here's the anatomy of the banded joint mobilization. When you move into wrist extension, the carpal bones of the bottom of your hand move this way, whereas your radius and all of the bones of your forearm move that way. So when we do a banded joint mobilization, we're trying to assist in that natural glide of the joint. So we're gonna get that band on the top of the hand, pulling down and back, put it up into this position. In this position, the band is pulling down, forcing the carpal bones in this position, while I then take my hand and keep it this way and move my arm over the top. So this is how you perform a banded joint mobilization. The band is assisting to improve the joint mechanics that we want to see whenever you go into more and more wrist extension. So I'm holding the band down, I'm coming up and over the top. If the band is up here, it is not doing anything. The band needs to be on the top of the hand, pulling down on the bones that make up the bottom of the hand, while the two bones, your radius and ulna of your forearm, move over the top. So something like this, we would do maybe 10 to 15 reps. If you don't have a band, can you do this without? Yes, it may not be as efficient, but here's what you would do. Have your hand facing this way. You're gonna take the inside part of your palm and smash your hand down. From here, you're going to pull up a little bit and over. So it's down with this hand, pull up and over the top until you feel like a light stretch right here. Something like this, you would again do about 10 to 15 reps. So that would be step one, a banded joint mobilization to enhance your ability to glide naturally into a little bit more wrist extension. Now again, always check and recheck. Let's get back to the push-up and see how does it feel. Do I maybe have a little bit better ability to tolerate extension as I go down? Now, let's say it's still a little painful. Well, what do? We want to be able to slowly reapply load. So if you are someone that has pain doing push-ups in that wrist, what we can do a lot of times is modify how much load and how much extension you're having through that wrist joint by using a towel. All we're going to do is put the wrist into just a little bit more flexion, so not as extreme extension. And that can sometimes help mitigate how much pain you feel. So for this position, you're going to have your wrists elevated a little bit. So now we're not, from here, we have so much degree of wrist extension. From here, we have a little bit less. So again, get into your push-up position, go down and back up. Many times, people who have push-up related pain in that bottom position, by elevating the wrist, just like a weightlifting heel does for the shoe, this can oftentimes decrease pain considerably. Now, if this is still painful, okay, sometimes we may just need to take a little bit bigger step back from doing push-ups in the meantime. But this can often allow you to still continue training. And then what you're gonna do is slowly unwrap and go less and less of a heel lift, down and back up. Over time, progressively, and this may be days, this may be weeks, you can go to needing less and less elevation to where you can take and eventually get back to doing the complete push-up again. Now, something like this also, if you have a lot of pain with pushing, is you can superset these. So you can do your wrist elevated push-ups and then do your banded joint mobilization and go back and forth. Now, let's talk about the person who is pressing overhead and has a lot of pain through the wrist. Again, our first step is the mobility work. Second set is always train what we can train while we fix what we can fix. I don't want you to completely eliminate pressing overhead, especially if we can do so without pain. So for some people, that may mean taking out the barbell in the short term and replacing it with a dumbbell. So in a barbell press overhead, we're going to have a slightly extended wrist in that overhead position, similar to a handstand position. The extended wrist with the barbell allows you to hoist and maintain good positionings overhead. With a dumbbell, especially in a neutral grip position, we can maintain a neutral alignment. This may allow some of you to be able to press overhead without any wrist pain. So in this position, neutral wrist, pressing up, back down. If this is pain-free, not going into that extended wrist position, but maintaining that neutral wrist, may allow you again to still maintain your overhead athleticism, power, and strength while you're recovering from the wrist injury. So we never want to completely take a step back from strength training if we don't have to. While we're working through a small injury, we want to be able to train what we can train while we fix what we can fix. And what that means with the wrist injury is if pressing with an extended wrist creates pain in the short term, let's work on addressing the mobility and then slowly improve our load tolerance with things like the pressing with the elevated heel or wrist position, and then slowly going back with the neutral grip first, and then eventually you can get back to the barbell with the slightly extended wrist position. So hopefully this, guys, gives you some options for how you can better deal with wrist pain with pressing exercises, whether that's a push-up or any pressing overhead. Thank you guys so much for checking out today's video. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Please subscribe to the channel if you find the information that I'm giving you to be valuable. Share it with your friends and family. If there's any topics that you want me to cover in future videos, let me know below and we'll go from there. Thank you guys so much again for checking out today's video. Happy squatting.
They say that energy flows where attention goes, so I pay no mind. Why waste my time with all these negative cats scratching? So caught up in their egos, these people have lost.